Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call this meeting to order of the regular town board meeting, joint public hearing and plan commission of the town board. I'd like to start off with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Notice is hereby given. There will be a public hearing before the Joint Plan Commission and Town Board on Thursday, May 9, 2013 at 6:30 to consider rezoning 5 parcels from R2 Single Family Residence to District B2 Local Business District. Roger?
Certainly, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This evening, Walgreens is returning to the town for consideration of rezoning from an R2 single-family district to a B2 local business district. My recommendation to the Planning Commission is incorporated in my report. They have satisfied all the submittal requirements, and this meeting has been duly noted and published according to statute. In the petition, they have satisfied all their submittal requirements and have brought in good faith their petition back to the Planning Commission's consideration and recommendation to the town board. This is a rezoning that is in full compliance with the master land use plan that identifies mixed use development for this site. With that, I would invite Mr. Lake to step forward. Speak a bit.
Good evening.
Doesn't sound like it.
It's on.
My name is Mark Lake. I'm the petitioner from Emerald Cummings Commercial Development Corp. We've been working to develop a Walgreens in Aldi on the southwest corner of Sunset and Genesee for a number of years now. Began back in 2009 when we submitted our master plan revision application. And it was eventually, the master plan was revised, and in the middle of all that, the DOT came through and decided that it wanted to redo the bypass, or have the bypass come to its head, if you will. And as a result, they asked us if we would pull off any future plan commissions and or agendas at the county and at the town to make sure that whatever we did wouldn't affect the decision by the regulating authorities for the bypass. So we waited for a little bit of period of time, and in the middle of all that, we asked a couple questions. We moved it a little forward, and we asked a couple questions of the various agencies. And one of the agencies was the county transportation department, and asked, okay, looking at our plan, does our plan have any impact on the proposed bypass, if the bypass would go past Sunset and Genesee, if the county had local jurisdiction? And their answer was, no, we would have no effect on it. Subject to, okay, we might want to widen Sunset Drive, okay, so therefore give us a little bit more land on Sunset. We did that. And they said that both of our access points on Sunset and Genesee or DNX would be approved when the applications were submitted. If the bypass would go down Sunset and Genesee, then therefore, and it was part of this overall project, it would then convert to a state project. And so thus we asked the state, if the bypass came through, would it have any effect on our property? And they said, no, we would widen the property, we would have to acquire some additional land, so if you wanted to do it, great. Give us this additional land along Sunset Drive and we'd be all happy as a clam, and we'd be able to approve your 2 access points, subject to future engineering. So we have letters, or there's letters on file from the town, in the town from both the state and both the county referencing that. Having said that, we move ahead another year. Last fall, last spring, we were in for rezoning, and at that point in time was about the time when things were starting to settle out. There were essentially 2 versions of the bypass, or 3 versions of the bypass coming out, and no final decisions were made, but we submitted an application for rezoning in our CSM. Time wasn't right, the county wasn't right, and there wasn't a final decision on the bypass either way, or a narrowing of the focus. And so therefore, the town, I believe at that point in time, decided, okay, let's just deny the rezoning now so they can come back a year later. In the middle of all that, or after that, I guess, we had the bypass came through and they said, okay, great, we're done. We have our final alternatives. We're going to have our public hearings, which occurred last fall and culminated on December 10th when they closed the public hearing, closed all public comment period, and said we're going to make a final decision. And so we've been waiting to essentially turn in our rezoning application. We get to the point where, all right, it's down to two uses, or 2 directions, and they finalize it. Instead of the far west and all those other ones, we're just down to basically 2. And as a result, both of those still had nothing to do with our site plan, and the county and the state both said our project has nothing to do with the state. We've closed the public comment period, and since we've closed the public comment period, the development of that corner will have nothing to do with the decision as it relates to the development of the bypass. So it comes to now, or 30 days ago when we submitted our application. We submitted our application for rezoning for that southwest corner to develop a Walgreens and an Aldi and a property that is zoned mixed use. We believe it's the highest and best use of an intersection with high traffic counts. It is an older corner. The homes in that corner are from the 50s and 60s, and the subdivision behind it was developed a little bit later. But and there's a new frontage road, the road was widened, and a lot of things that have occurred to basically look at that corner as there's something got to be better than residential. And that's the reason why we came in with our application for rezoning, so that we can put in a Walgreens and an Aldi store. We believe it would complement everything that goes on. It would complement the things across the street, and would probably help Fox Run come through. It certainly would help generate traffic, if you will, for people that are wanting to shop down here at the shops at Fox River. But Walgreens in and of itself is not a traffic generator, they're a traffic user. People are still going to go bypass that corner every day, whether they're coming off the bypass, if it were going down Sunset and Genesee, or if they were following the bypass as it would be built through Pebble Creek. So therefore, we respectfully request approval of our rezoning. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak on this matter?
Good evening, my name is Tom Schmitzer. I'm with the law firm of Hittermeyer, Riley, Moody & Lump, 720 Clinton Street in Waukesha. I do represent the developer in this case, I'm Red Cummings, but I also represent one of the affected property owners. That's the Smart Revocable Trust, Carol Smart trustee. Although Mrs. Smart's property is actually located in the city of Waukesha, that's the very corner piece. She is a town resident. I've been in front of this body several times on this issue, and as you will recall, and as Mr. Lake has pointed out, we were here back as far as April of 2009, and at that time the discussions began about what was the highest and best use of that corner. And we went through the process, and eventually the town did amend its master plan to categorize that corner and those 5 parcels that we're discussing tonight as mixed use. Mixed use being allowing commercial uses, just like the one that is being proposed by my client. Mixed use, which would allow this type of zoning, B2 local business district. Following the adoption of the amendment to the town's master plan, we proceeded to the county, and as Mr. Lake pointed out, there was considerable delays. And many of those delays my client agreed to because he felt as though it was best to try to flush out some of these issues and let the county do its work relative to the bypass. But eventually the county did approve the amendment to the master plan as well. And we came back before this body last spring, was I believe last March. And at that time I pointed out to the commission and the board the same thing I'm going to point out now, and that is that this request for rezoning is completely consistent with the town's own master plan. It's compliant with the state smart growth law, and that's the requirement of the statute. It's always been consistent last year as well as we stand here tonight. And it's consistent from the perspective that we're asking for a commercial use and a business zoning, which is allowed within the mixed use category, which is part of the town's master plan. Those things haven't changed. What has changed is the whole bypass issue. And as Mr. Lake has pointed out, the county and the state have now determined that the preferred alternative for that bypass, should it be built, which is still, I suppose, up in the air, but should it be built, the preferred alternative is the Pebble Creek West alternative. It is no longer considering the Sunset and Genesee alternative. Right? Thoroughly considered that alternative and rejected it for the reasons that are set forth in the report that the county issued last month. So from that perspective, there is a difference between when I was here last year. But you'll also recall that at that meeting, I believe Mr. Fisher pointed out that the county had confirmed that it had no safety or traffic issues with this development. It wasn't going to impact whatever road went through there, whether it be the bypass or a 4-lane widening of Sunset. Despite that confirmation from the county, this board voted not to approve the rezoning request. But since then, the preferred alternative has been identified, and we're back before you now. Again, I would simply reiterate that what we're asking for, a rezoning to B2, is consistent with the town's own master plan, consistent with what the town decided in 2009 was the appropriate use of those properties. there really shouldn't be a question in my mind relative to the bypass anymore. That's been taken care of. For those reasons, I believe this board should approve the rezoning request, and I would ask that you do so. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else?
They'll probably all follow me. Chris Lofter, W262 South 3186 Ridge Road. As most of you are aware, I was one of the first naysayers in this whole process. Joe did start it, Joe stopped doing it, I took over, I made sure the neighborhood has been notified throughout this process. I may have missed a few houses here and there, but I've done that. Now, Mark, I have a question for you, and I'm going to ask it again. Is it your intention and the intention of Walgreens and Aldi to stay in the town of Waukesha?
Yes, ma'am.
It is. They've repeatedly said that over the last 4 years. At this point, I personally cannot doubt him. I also can't guarantee it, but I just can't doubt him at this point. As far as I'm concerned, when the county approved the land use change, our battle was over with. The decision we face now is not whether it's Walgreens or nothing, it's whether it's an Walgreens, a gas station, or something else that we may not even want and have to fight that also. The land use has changed. I have never seen a developer put the time in like Mark Lake has done with this neighborhood, with several meetings, attending here, answering questions, trying to address the needs of this neighborhood. I'm willing to take a gamble on him. The other problem I have, or I foresee in the future, with the land use or water use maps, our subdivision is blue. Now, we have several board members, current and former, that have said this water agreement is a de facto border agreement. I'm understanding that to mean everything on that map, is there one up?
Over here.
Over here? Oh, there it is, nobody will be able to see that. Everything in the town of Waukesha that is still white will remain in the town of Waukesha because it has no city or sewer water backup designated to it, at least in the opinions of the decision makers. Our subdivision, however, is in blue. When it comes time for a border discussion, we will be the first ones handed over to the city of Waukesha. The only thing I see that may prevent that is if we have Walgreens on the corner who's going to go kicking and screaming because they have deeper pockets than we do to fight this. So that's why I have now decided to switch my opinion and back Walgreens and that development because I think it's best for the long-termness of this subdivision. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Janet Glade, South 31, West 26111, Sunset Drive. I debated about talking tonight because I did campaign for one of the supervisors and I did not want to influence anybody's vote on this. But I do, Mr. Lake and I did talk and he did give me some guarantees and I would like them in the record. Mr. Lake and I have had a meeting, and although there are no benefits whatsoever for me to having Walgreens next door, he has agreed to soften the impact of the development by building the 350-foot fence more to my liking, keeping hands off my driveway, giving me a check for landscaping on my side of the fence, and offering to fix my well and or septic should they be negatively affected by this development. In order for no future misunderstandings to occur, I have asked for this agreement to be in writing by his attorney, which I have not received yet. and I am not receiving nothing beyond this agreement from Mr. Lake or his company. What is Walgreens receiving? Mr. Lake says Walgreens wants me to be happy. Beyond that, I think they hope I will keep my mouth shut and not make waves.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Michael Dirk, S51 W23661 Turner's Pike. For the 10 of the 13 years that I've lived in the town, I've been a pretty regular attendee of town board and planning commission meetings. And as I've stated in the past on this issue, the recurring theme that I've heard the entire time is the desperate need that we have for commercial development in the town of Waukesha, which is largely a residential community. I would beg for anyone to find a more appropriate place for commercial development than this corner with the high traffic volume. And for anyone who would say that there's too many Walgreens here or there or everywhere, I don't know that it's the position of the town board or anyone in the audience or the planning commission to make decisions on the business model of Walgreens. Given their long-term business model and their stock price of recent, I would say that they have something figured out whether we agree with it or not. So, as I've stated in the past, I would highly encourage both the planning commission and the town board to move this forward as a site for commercial development, whether it be Walgreens or somebody else. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I'd received a letter through the mail for a comment this evening. Dear Ms. Valentine, I have been out of town and just arrived back to receive your registered letter informing me of a meeting to be held on May 9th. This is from Carol Borgward. I'm sorry if that's incorrect. She has a parcel of land located in this location, which is part of the rezone request. She is not able to attend due to surgery, and she stated, this corner is located in a high-traffic area at some point, will be redeveloped regardless of how much dispute has been occurring over 4 years. I'm highly in favor of Walgreens and Aldi's being allowed to build. I would suggest that it benefits the town greatly with a wonderful tax increase. No land will be taken into the city of Waukesha, allowing the town to have these monies allotted to them. Walgreens and Aldi's have been known to keep their properties, which is an asset. This would be better than a car dealership, garage, filling station, or possibly another apartment building. I ask the town board to consider the benefits and allow this land to be rezoned as requested. Sincerely, Carol.
Roger, anything else?
No, sir, nothing else to add.
Anybody want to move to adjourn?
There's no adjourning.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Next, I'm going to call to order the meeting of the Plan Commission. And first on the agenda is the rezoning of the Walgreens parcel. Call to order, sorry. Citizens' comments before that for the Plan Commission. Anybody have any comments? Then we'll move on to approval of the meeting minutes from March 14th, 2013.
I'll move approval in a second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I didn't think.
Just,
Since it's
it's a
your
joint
meeting.
meeting. I didn't want to say it because I don't assume we have a problem with
Fair enough. Well, then we'll do that. Since it's a joint meeting of the town board and the plan commission, we'll call to order the meeting of the plan commission and the town board at the same time. All good?
I'm good, I just
Okay.
don't want to have
No problem.
issues after that.
Number 4 is appointment and possible action on plan commission members. The first one that I'd like to reappoint would be Chief Buchholz.
I make a motion to approve reappointing Chief Buchholz to the Plan Commission for another term. It's 3-year term.
3-year term. This is a board, town board motion only, just so you guys know.
Second,
Second.
discussion?
How many board members are we short at this point?
Assuming Mr. Buchholz will get reappointed and approved, there would be 2 short. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Next, I had appointed Renee Ramirez and Robert Stigler previously. Joe, you had asked for resumes from the both of them, and you have those before you. We all have them before us. Anybody have any questions regarding that?
I'd like to take them as we did with Dan's, one at a time, so. as
I
the
agree.
seats would come up.
Let's start with Mr. Stigler.
I will move that we confirm the appointment of the town chair of Robert Stigler to the Plan Commission, and am I correct that that is for a 1-year term?
Yes.
And I so move.
Is there a second? I will second it. Discussion?
Whose seat is he replacing?
Brock.
Question, how did we come up with Mr. Stigler's name? Did we put this out, did we notice people on the website that there was some openings?
No, according to town ordinance, it's the chairman's choice.
Your choice to appoint, our choice as a town board to approve?
Yes.
You don't go through an application process for this? I'm not application interview or for these positions? Just question.
No.
I will simply tell you to give you a little bit of background on that. For all of the years, which goes back to the 1980s, that I was on the Plan Commission. Maybe I shouldn't confess this, I never submitted a resume. I don't believe that was ever the topic of discussion. So we're kind of plowing a new ground here. I certainly don't object to this. I think Mr. Stigler's resume is very impressive, but that is a step beyond where we have ever gone, at least in my 25-year experience, and perhaps other members of the Plan Commission would be able to acknowledge that.
That's right, I've been on here over 30 years. I don't think I submitted a resume.
And I'll only offer that when we, at the former board, appointed Tina and Brock, our process was different. Doesn't make ours right or the other one wrong, just saying ours was different, and that we sought volunteer applicants from the community. They did submit their information by resume, what have you, for us to consider and discuss and meet with them. And then the chair, after those meetings, did make her recommendations or appointments, and then they were confirmed. The only other thing I offer is that I think the town board has been served very well, in particular by Tina Reese. And her education, background in hydrogeology stands to serve this community incredibly well because it is such a specialized knowledge base. And I understand Brock resigned, and we, either one of these two candidates would be acceptable to me to replace Brock's position. But I think the community would be served very strongly by continuing to have Tina, and I understand she wishes to continue to serve. And that's my only comment on this.
I just offer one more comment. My experience must have been different than yours, Joe, because I don't recall anything to do with an interviewing process or that type of thing. That's unbeknownst to me.
They were appointed before you were a board member.
Understand?
So you weren't, I mean, just factually, you weren't part of that process. It was Everett, myself, and Angie who were part of that process.
Anything else? Let's take a vote then. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Opposed.
Me also. Two opposed, Larry and Mr. Laska. That would confirm Mr. Stigler. Next is Renee Ramirez.
I'll make the motion that we confirm the appointment of Renee Ramirez to the Plan Commission for a term of 1 year, and I so move.
Is there a second? And I would also second that one. Discussion.
As I look at the resume here, I see a lot of ties, if you will, with the Waukesha County community, if you will. I see that not being a good presence for a Plan Commission member. I'm sorry, but that's my feeling here. I can see some points of conflict down the road, perhaps. And for that reason, I would not vote for this or favor this person.
May I ask you specifically, and I mean, I think this is an incredibly impressive resume. I have actually even known Renee Ramirez for quite a number of years. This is an absolutely incredible resume. Might I ask you, where do you see a potential conflict specifically?
Good question. Gut feeling.
I gotta have something better than that, I guess. You looked at her resume and you said there's warning signs here, specific things. Give me something specific with her incredible resume of service to this community where you see anything that could possibly be a conflict with her service on the Plan Commission for the town of Waukesha, please.
Well, I mean, Mike, I appreciate your position, and I see that she was just awarded the key to the city of Waukesha as well. There's no doubt that Renee has been an active community member in both the city, the county, and I don't know about her efforts here in the town. It seems like it is a great resume. I would still go back to my opinion that Tina Reese has an expertise that we reap the benefit as a community for in spades, and she's been instrumental in the well monitoring as we've explored that expansion of that program. And unfortunately, I can't support Renee for the reasons that I would rather see this name be Tina Reese.
Well, Joe, I appreciate that, and nobody's saying that Tina Reese did not adequately perform in her duties, or that she hasn't been asset to the town and the community, but the fact is that she isn't being appointed. Renee Ramirez is.
I guess it may take a few minutes, but I'd like to take the opportunity, I guess, to read what we are seeing on her resume here, which you requested. Supervisor Bansky. What's
I don't
that?
object to that. We don't need you to read it.
Well, I think we do, because I think they are important criteria for consideration here, so I'm going to go through it. Under her summary, she offers to us ongoing, organized, and goal-oriented leader committed to serving the Waukesha County community, thrives in fast-paced environment, organizing tasks, allocating resources, meeting deadlines, providing high-quality results. Extensive record of leadership in fund development and volunteer recruitment, passionate about educating and fostering understanding of diversity, strong reputation for relating well to others and resolving conflict. We could use that. Experience in directing complex projects from concept to fully operational status. Goal-oriented, organized, highly motivated individual with strong problem-solving skills. We can use that. Proven record of managing nonprofit operations efficiently and effectively while working in unison with staff, volunteers, and board of directors. Under relevant experience, program coordination. Successfully established and managed nonprofit community dental clinic. I believe that's what her current vocation is, if you will. Oversaw the creation of needed operational policies and procedures, developed and led the implementation of business plan, and managed $1 million annual budget, successfully coordinated annual fundraising events, successfully developed new projects and implemented collaborations. Management and supervision, directed recruitment and retention of staff of 17 employees, trained, supervised, and evaluated staff. Leadership, Carroll University Board of Trustees, May 2012 to present, Waukesha County Community Foundation Co-Chair of the Advisory Council, 2005 to present, University of Wisconsin Alumni Association National Board of Directors member, 2006 to 2012, and a chair of the board for 2010 to 2011. Employment, I mentioned 2007 to present, Waukesha County Community Dental Clinic Incorporated. She was from 1991 to 2007, a Gray Mare Preschool Incorporated Director of Business Operations and Finance, and from 1984 to 1988, Professional Education Seminar Planner. Community Development, Waukesha County Community Foundation, Co-Chair of the Advisory Council, Women of Distinction Luncheon, Co-Chair, Tempo International Waukesha Chapter, Waukesha Service Club, Hospital Gift Shop Manager, Children's Service Society Board of Directors, Christmas Clearing Council Board President, Junior Friends of the YWCA President, Waukesha Public Schools Advocate and Volunteer, United Way Speakers Bureau, Waukesha AFS Chapter President and Host Family. Awards, Waukesha County Community Foundation Women of Distinction Award, May 2013. City of Waukesha Key to the City Award, December 2012. Waukesha Rotary International, recipient of the Paul Harris Fellow Award, June 2007. Wisconsin Alumni Association, Waukesha County Badger of the Year, May 2007. And finally, her educational background, University of Wisconsin-Madison, in May of 1983, received the degree of Bachelor of Arts in International Relations and Economics. I have actually known her personally for in excess of 20 years. Folks, to say that that is an impressive resume is an understatement. And Tina has done well. I have no issues with her service and appreciate that deeply, but this is the prerogative of the chair to make this nomination. We've got an outstanding candidate who was offered to serve on this plan commission, and with her vast experience and talent that she has as an individual, to help us move forward, to heal this community and move it in the right direction, I think it would be unconscionable to vote against affirming her to be a member of our plan commission. It's real simple.
Anybody else?
I would ask a question of you. What is the right direction? I've heard that word twice now from two different sources. It seems to me that there was a direction that perhaps this town hasn't moved right in the last 2 years. I'm hearing this right direction as opposed to the wrong direction that we were headed in. Can you expound on that, please?
Are you directing that to me?
Yes.
Okay, well, I will just tell you that we have somebody who is, somebody who works well with other people in terms of solving problems rather than creating problems, has a track record experience of working with people, resolving conflict and everything. I think that's the right direction for the town of Waukesha, no question about it.
Is that to say that perhaps Tina was guilty of not doing what you just said?
Didn't say that.
Okay.
Don't
Well,
even go there.
Tina was told that the town is going to be going in is changing directions, and we're going to go in the right direction, and therefore she was not going to be reappointed. So that's where I'm getting the other direction terminology from, and I'm quite curious to know where this direction is going. I'm also curious why a very, very good resume, no doubt in my mind, what motivates a person like that, like this, to step forward and want to serve the town as a plan commission member? I don't get a warm feeling on this. I'm very sorry. The fact that she has networked above and
Can I have
beyond.
your resume? Because I'd like to see how it compares to hers.
Ma'am, you're out of order.
Sorry. We can talk. Anyway, that's my feeling on this matter. Put this out. Let's look for some folks that come forward, maybe aren't networked like this resume is. There is just a vast web out there, if you will. It's not needed for this position. I'm sorry, but that's my feelings.
So, Mike, are you saying that being networked and involved in the community would be a bad thing to have for somebody that would serve on the plan commission?
No, I didn't say that. What I did say, what I did mean, if you will, the fact that this could be looked at as, okay, by some people, that she's being appointed because perhaps of friendship, perhaps her ability to find out things ahead of time, I don't know. I'm just saying what people can read out of this. This looks just too big and too blatant for someone to step up to the plate as a plan commission member. I'm sorry, that's just the way I feel.
Or perhaps it could be just as simple as she's a concerned, involved, successful businesswoman who's willing to step up and serve her community.
We can take the worry out of being close by just not even appointing her.
Well, you don't have the position to appoint her, I do. It's your choice to confirm her or not confirm her.
Well said.
Might I ask if this resume you find troubling or lacking, what would your ideal candidate be, and what would his or her resume look like?
As I look at the plan commissioners over the years, I find them to be very, very people without resumes like this, okay? For obvious reasons, we don't have people that own 50, 100, 200 acres on a plan commission. Makes sense that way, all right? Over the years, I have noticed that I will, for lack of other words, call these previous plan commission members everyday people, concerned people that this town is planned and planned for the future. Those are the people that we need on board. I look across the room and I see an Alan White, carpenter by trade, knows buildings. I see Bob Flanagan, developer, got a lot of insight that he has offered to this board for a long time, Plan Commission. I see Chief Buchholz there has valuable insight as to the way things are developed, where his fire department can get at that particular development in case of emergency. I see a long track record of everyday people, what I call, that don't have resumes like this. Mr. Flanagan, I've never seen one on you, but I don't think you have something that extensive. Same with Mr. White and Mr. Buchholz.
I guess my final, maybe final comment to you, Mike, would be is if being successful, motivated, concerned about your community, and interested in serving your community are disqualifiers, then I guess I don't know what I'm doing here.
You said a disqualifier word, I didn't.
Well, if you're gonna vote against her, it's a disqualifier. That's simple.
I have nobody else to favor. I've been forced down my throat 2 appointees. We need 2 appointees in place. We have no other options here to go yes or no. There's no other people to consider. I'm sorry, but something lacks here.
Well, that's correct, Mike. There is no other choice. It's an appointment at the pleasure of the chair, and that's me, and that's my decision to make those appointments. Ms. Ramirez comes with a very impressive resume, is extremely involved in her community, is extremely successful in all of the endeavors that she's undertaken, and to even be up here arguing about this because you have a gut feeling, I don't understand it.
Okay, call for the vote.
Let's vote.
Sorry.
Can I ask why Tina wasn't? The way I understand is, in the number of years I've been coming to these board meetings, is you almost have to die to go off that board. Can I ask why she was taken off?
Well, it certainly wasn't because she died. That is my choice. It's the decision of the chair to appoint new Plan Commission members, and that was my choice. So let's take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Opposed?
Motion fails.